sweet ride. Good morning. We are at the Pioneer Best Western. Getting ready to go. It's day 36, Monday, July 24th.
Yes.
Is that right? July 24th. We are packed up and ready to go. We're headed we'll be in Nebraska shortly, and we're going toward, what is it? Kearney, Nebraska, which is about in the middle of the state, I think. But in a new time zone. We are now on Mountain Time. At the end of the day, we'll be on Central Time, which means we're getting closer to Eastern Time in Georgia. But we are ready to go. We'll be leaving shortly. Right on.
Right on.
Before we leave Lusk, I had to get a shot of the truck here. This was Joey Price in Douglas, Wyoming. He was in the oil rig business. Had to get a shot of that. I understand this is the best breakfast in Lusk. The chef is on break, having his own breakfast right now.
He's currently unemployed.
The chef cooked his own breakfast
Without benefit.
So this is his workstation right here. We actually had breakfast inside, but this is really cool. Noted as the best breakfast in Lusk.
In North America.
We enjoyed our stay here in Lusk. Thank you very much, Mr. Tom. Awesome. Right on. Probably the second or third stop today. It's very, very hot. We're gonna take a break for some lunch here at the A&W All-American Food. We got about, I don't know, I think we got about 140 miles to go. Still a pretty lengthy day in the heat. But we're making it. Right on. We have arrived in Kearney, Nebraska. This is the Best Western. We're kind of out back here. That was closer to our room. There's a restaurant over there. That red building, she says. So since we're not getting on a bike again today, we're gonna walk over there. I think it's a barbecue place, right? Skeeter Barnes Barbecue. Today, this is the third.
Oh yeah. About time it warmed up.
Perfect out here. Just wonderful. We rode, I think, well, they told me it was 312. I think it was 400. That's the third 400 plus day in a row at 97 degrees, 97 degrees, and 100 degrees. So we're having a good time. Yeah, we are. Yeah, it's a little hot, but we're getting there.
Now we're stomping through the tick.
Yeah, now we're gonna walk through the grass and probably get fleas and ticks. No telling what else. We'll be back later. Right on.
Right on.
Skeeter Barnes Barbecue. That's what
Starbucks was.
that's what it's gonna be. If it's open. Okay. Skeeter Barnes. Skeeter Barnes came through for us. We had what'd you have? You had
Salad.
barbecue pork sandwich. Don had some. What'd you have? Had
And a
some
salad.
ribs. A salad. He had to say
I
salad.
had to have a salad.
He had to say salad. That's not really what he had. He did have a salad.
I did
but-
have a salad. I did.
Yeah. He overindulged his over-exasperated appetite. Did you have sufficient quantity?
I did.
Look, there's the police.
Oh man! Look! Uh-oh! Look at this. Got him. Mm-hmm. Wish you hadn't have done that.
Yeah.
All right. Dinner was good. Headed back to the room. We'll be back later. I got some new shades. How about those? Yeah. Pretty cool. Right on. What do you think about my new shades?
Very nice.
So we left Nisi in the room, and it's just Dawn and me out here. We're just gonna have a discussion about our trip, ask a few questions to each other. The first question, I mean, we've had one question and answer session, and
That you weren't a part of.
that I was not a part of,
We
and
had comments.
I had a couple of people say that I should have answered the question, so I don't know if we're going to go back and answer all those same questions, but I guess I'll answer a few. So just a couple of things that I thought about that I wanted to ask Dawn about was, we talked about our trip and our bikes and all of that. I wanted to ask you what you thought about the performance of your bike on the trip,
Having
on
a
the
Spider on the trip.
Can-Am,
Yeah.
and just give us your thoughts about how it was riding the Can-Am all the way
Yeah.
up this route.
I thought riding the Can-Am was great. I mean, it's not built, it has very little ground clearance. So when you get into the gravel, and it's really not meant to ride on dirt or sand, it slides a little bit. But it is extremely dependable and extremely comfortable bike to ride. And I think I would do it again, even though I had trouble in the sand and dirt, only because I had to go that much slower. So
And why did you have to go that much slower?
just
What was
because of the
happening?
ground clearance. So if you get into a lot of heavy gravel, you got to
So it's
be
coming back
careful.
up.
It'll actually, the bottom would bottom out into it. If you hit a hole, it would bottom out into it. And the same thing even on the rough
Yeah.
asphalt. When you hit some of those dips, you have to be prepared for it, and you have to make sure you hit them at an angle so you don't, scrape as much.
Yeah.
But to me, that area was probably 5% of the trip in terms of the miles. And I still wouldn't sacrifice 95% of the road trip and the comfort of the Spider
Makes sense.
for 5% of the area where I had to go really slow, or slower than a lot of the people.
Makes sense. For me, as far as the bike is concerned, the bike I was on, the Suzuki V-Strom 650cc, if I were to do it again on a two-wheel motorcycle, I would probably go with the bigger, higher cc, the 1050 or the 1250, one of the probably a bigger motor, just because of some of the higher speeds on the big roads. The bikes we had were, they're good, but I just think it would be. I just felt like at times, at higher speeds, we were really winding out the 650. Probably higher than it sounded like it needed another gear at times. So I'd probably go with a bigger CC motor if I did it again on that. But
So how was that comfort-wise compared to your Harley?
yeah, I think I have the worst seat in the world. It was not comfortable at all. Denise's bike has a higher end seat on it, which is much more comfortable. Mine has a stock seat that came with the bike, and it was not very comfortable at all. Which there's a story about that too. I ended up I've told it to a number of people I've talked to on the phone, but I ended up at one point early on in the trip, I didn't think I was going to make it. I didn't want to tell these guys that I wasn't going to make it, and I ended up telling Denise when we were in Sylvan Lake, which has been, that was our first stop in Canada, I think. So that's been a while ago. It was early in the trip that I felt like I wasn't going to make it, and I told her that I was having a problem with just being on the bike for that long and being comfortable, and I don't have near as much padding back there as some people do. And so she said, let's go to the drugstore and see what they have. And I was thinking about pillows, a neck pillow maybe to sit on, and we were looking at diapers. We were dual purpose. Yeah, that would serve two purposes on some of the long rides. But I ended up buying one of these inflatable donuts that I put on in between the two sheepskins that I have on the bike. I'll get a picture of that a little bit later, but I really think that saved the trip for me because it's been very comfortable since. So something that Don thought about maybe marketing at some point. But yeah, a better seat for me and a bigger, probably a bigger motor if I was to do it again on a motorcycle. But the next thing that I wanted to talk about, I wanted to ask Don about was, what we packed and what we brought. How do you feel about what you brought with you on the trip, what you used, what you didn't use? Do you feel like you would do anything different as far as packing if you were to do it again?
I feel pretty good about what I brought. We didn't use the camping stuff, but that was supposed to be for emergencies. I would still bring it.
I'm glad we didn't use it.
I'm glad we didn't use it either. But I wouldn't leave it home.
I agree. I agree with that.
Given some of the
Same
territory
here.
now, if you're going where you're in an area where you got great cell service and that kind of stuff, but when you're in the wilderness and it may be nothing for 100 miles or more, then I think it makes a good idea to do it. And the same thing with the fuel. I mean, I brought fuel tanks, and I still have the fuel and didn't need them, and that's fantastic. But I would take them again.
I agree with that too.
I wouldn't leave them at
I
all.
agree with that too. And for me, as far as packing, I think I brought probably too many clothes. I brought too many shirts. I brought too many jeans. I brought an extra helmet, which takes up a lot of space in one of my bags. So I think one of the things that if somebody was going to do this, I would recommend, after we've done this so many nights, you unload your bike and you load your bike every day. So if there was something that I could change about this, I would try to figure out a way that you could bring in one bag every night that you use in the room. The way we have it, I think we're bringing in
Pretty much everything.
probably 3 bags each a night. So
All bags and jackets and boots.
yeah,
And, you know,
yeah. On top
all
of the bags, you have jackets and helmets and boots. So
You don't want
that's
to leave all that on the bike anyway.
true. But that's one thing to think about. You know what? You know, if there's a way to, you know, consolidate, you know, what you need in the room to bring in one bag, that would be helpful.
And you changed your bag in terms of what you.
I
had,
did.
And I'm shipping one home. So.
I did, and that was very helpful. I ended up, you know, buying a new bag on the trip because, you know, the bag I brought had me sitting too far forward on the bike, taking up too much space behind me. So the bag that I bought, you know, was much better and worked out a lot better.
Waterproof roll bag.
And it
so
was waterproof.
softer.
Didn't have to worry about a cover that that blew off early on in the trip anyway.
Forgot about that.
So yeah, it's that's any other thoughts that you have at the moment?
No, but I wanted to ask you about the trip because Denise had mentioned that she was kind of the catalyst to make this happen and to get you to ride. So
She did.
I guess my question is, would you have ever done a trip like this, whether with her or with other Hikawi friends, if she wasn't that catalyst pushing you?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I don't know that I would have done it without her. You know, I know how much she likes to ride, and you know she encourages me to ride more. So probably not. I don't see me doing it without her, which kind of prompts me to ask you another question about you being gone for so long
Yeah.
away from Joanne. I mean, this is a 6-week ordeal that we've been on. So
Long time.
talk about being away from your wife
Yeah.
for 6 weeks.
I'll tell you, it was a struggle actually making the decision to come.
I bet.
And as much as I wanted to do it, one, I didn't want to be away that long, and two, I wasn't sure. She's usually very supportive of what I do and want to do, like the other trips.
Mm-hmm.
But she was very encouraging in terms of me to do that because she knows I was hesitating to do it.
Even though she said get home
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. But I don't think I could have done it if she wasn't so supportive, both encouraging in the beginning and supportive throughout the trip. So when I'm sending pictures and talking to her at night, she was excited about where I was going and crossing the border into Canada and crossing the border into Alaska and, you know, those sites and the stuff. So it's been, I don't think I could have done it without somebody like her. So that's
Awesome.
thanks, hon.
Yeah.
It was a,
Right on, Joanne.
yeah.
All right. Anything else?
No,
You
I
wanna
think
say?
so.
All right. That's it for now. Maybe we'll have some more questions a little bit later on and include Nacy. Right on.
Right on.
We'll be back tomorrow. Right on.